When my son told me he needed just a small loan from my business account, I blindly trusted him with my banking credentials. Days later, I was staring at nearly empty accounts and a paper trail of betrayal that led right back to my own flesh and blood. That's when I realized family ties can become nooses if you're not careful about who's holding the rope. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments if you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved. Because trust me, this story twists harder than a tornado in Kansas, and you'll want to be here for every shocking revelation. I never thought I'd be sitting here telling this story. The kind of story that makes strangers gasp and friends whisper behind your back. But here I am, Margaret Wilson, 58 years old, owner of Wilson Financial Services, or at least what's left of it. For 30 years, I built my accounting firm from nothing. Started at my kitchen table after my divorce from Adam's father, working nights while my son slept in the next room. Back then, it was just me, a calculator, and sheer determination. I still remember the day I hired my first employee, then leased my first office space. Every milestone earned through sweat and sacrifice. And Adam? He watched it all. My beautiful boy with his father's dark eyes and my stubborn chin. I thought I was teaching him about hard work, integrity, and persistence. Instead, he was learning something else entirely, where I kept the keys to the kingdom. That Tuesday evening started like any other. I was working late, reviewing quarterly projections when my phone buzzed. A notification from my bank about unusual activity. At first, I thought it was just another scam alert. God knows I get enough of those. But something made me check. What I saw froze the blood in my veins. 5 separate transfers over the last 48 hours, totaling $347,000. Money moved from my business operating accounts to an offshore entity I'd never heard of. There must be some mistake. I remember whispering to my empty office, the air conditioning suddenly feeling like an Arctic blast against my skin. Script part separator equals. I called the bank immediately, my fingers trembling as I punched in the numbers. Mrs. Wilson, these transfers were authorized using your credentials, the fraud department representative explained, her voice clinically detached. The system shows they were initiated from your home IP address. That's when the first knot of suspicion tightened in my stomach. My home address? I hadn't worked from home in days. Can you tell me exactly when these transfers occurred? I asked, already dreading the answer. The first was Monday at 2:17 p.m., followed by Monday afternoon, while I was meeting with our biggest client downtown. While Adam was supposedly stopping by the house to pick up some mail, I hung up and drove home in a daze, the streetlights blurring through my windshield. I needed proof before I accused my own son of theft. Maybe there was another explanation. Maybe someone had hacked our Wi-Fi. Maybe. I found Adam sprawled on my couch, scrolling through his phone. At 32, he still had that boyish charm that had always gotten him out of trouble. Hey, Mom, he smiled, but it faltered when he saw my face. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. Did you access my business accounts? His expression shifted so quickly I almost missed it. Surprise, then calculation, then wounded innocence.
What? No.
Why would you ask me that? But I saw it, that flicker of guilt in his eyes. The same look he'd had at 7 when he broke my favorite vase and blamed the neighbor's cat. At 12 when he stole money from my purse. At 16 when he took my car without permission and dented the fender. I'd always forgiven him. Always believed his excuses and promises to do better. Someone transferred nearly $350,000 out of my accounts, I said quietly. From my house. Using my passwords. While I was at the Barton meeting. Script part separator equals. He stared at me, then laughed, a nervous, brittle sound that shattered the last of my delusions. Mom, you're being paranoid. Maybe you got hacked or something. I pulled out my phone and showed him the bank alert. The transfers were made from our home network, Adam. Only you and I have access to that. His face hardened then, transforming before my eyes. The mask of my loving son slipped away, revealing a stranger.
Fine.
Yes, I took it. But it's not stealing when it's family money. His words hit me like a physical blow. Family money? I built this business alone while your father was off living his new life. And I've been watching you hoard it all these years. He shouted, jumping to his feet. Do you know what it's like being the son of Margaret Wilson, who pinches every penny like the Great Depression's coming back? I have opportunities, Mom. Real business opportunities that you're too risk-averse to understand. So you stole from me? Your own mother? I borrowed. I'm investing it. You'll thank me when the returns start coming in. I sank into a chair, feeling suddenly old. What investment, Adam? Tell me exactly where my money went. He waved his hand dismissively. It's complicated. A crypto venture with some guys I know. Very exclusive. I want names, contracts, documentation. It doesn't work that way, he snapped. This is next-generation finance, not your dinosaur accounting methods. I stood up, steadying myself against the wall. I'm calling the police. His laugh was cold. And tell them what? That you gave your son your passwords? That I have access to all your accounts? That we've been commingling personal and business funds for years? I froze. That last part wasn't true, but how would it look to investigators? To my clients? You wouldn't dare drag us both down, I whispered. His smile chilled me to the bone.
Try me.
By the way, I've already put the house up as collateral for a secondary investment. Papers are being processed tomorrow. As he brushed past me toward the door, he paused. Don't worry, Mom. In 3 months, we'll both be millionaires. The door slammed behind him, leaving me alone with the devastating knowledge that my son hadn't just stolen my money. He was actively working to take everything else. Script part separator ===. I slept maybe 2 hours that night, my mind racing with fears and calculations. By dawn, I'd made a decision. This wasn't just about money. It was about saving my company, my employees' jobs, and what was left of my dignity. First up, Sarah Jenkins, my attorney of 15 years, and the closest thing I had to a best friend. He did what? Sarah nearly spilled her coffee when I finished explaining. Cleaned out the operating accounts. And he claims he's put my house up as collateral for something. Sarah's office was sleek but comforting, walls lined with law books and framed degrees. She'd helped me through my divorce, business expansions, and countless contracts. But I'd never seen her look this alarmed. Margaret, this isn't just theft. This is fraud, embezzlement, possibly identity theft. She leaned forward. We need to move fast. He's my son, Sarah. He's a criminal who's counting on that maternal instinct to protect him. She tapped furiously on her keyboard. I'm filing an emergency injunction on any property transfers. Then we freeze whatever accounts might still have funds. What about the money that's already gone? Her expression darkened. Tell me about this investment. What exactly did he say? Something about crypto. And partners. He was deliberately vague. Sarah stopped typing. Wait. This isn't the first time I've heard this recently. One of my other clients, Thompson Media Group, their CFO's son pulled something similar. Same pattern. Family access, large transfers, vague cryptocurrency story. You think they're connected? I think there's a scheme targeting family businesses. She picked up her phone. I know someone at the Financial Crimes Unit. We need to. My phone buzzed with a text. Adam. Mom, we need to talk. Bringing my business partner to explain everything. Meeting you at the office at 2 p.m. Don't do anything stupid before then. I showed Sarah the message. Perfect, she said, her eyes gleaming with a predatory light I'd never seen before. We'll be ready for them. Ready how? I'm calling in some favors. This meeting is happening on our terms, not theirs. She squeezed my hand. Margaret, I need you to trust me completely for the next 4 hours. Can you do that? I nodded, feeling the first spark of hope since this nightmare began. Good. Because by the end of today, your son and his business partner are going to learn a very painful lesson about who they decided to steal from. Script part separator ===. Little did I know that what awaited me at my office would change everything forever. Sarah and I spent the morning preparing. She brought in a forensic accountant who worked frantically to trace the stolen funds while Sarah made mysterious phone calls from the conference room. "Don't tell Adam I'll have anyone else here," I instructed. "Let him think I'm alone and vulnerable." "Perfect," Sarah nodded. Element of surprise works in our favor. At exactly 2 p.m., Adam strolled into my office like he owned the place. Behind him was a man I'd never seen before, tall, impeccably dressed in an Italian suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. "Mom, this is Vincent Mercer. He's my business partner and financial advisor." Vincent extended his hand with practiced charm. "Mrs. Wilson, Adam has told me so much about you. I understand you have concerns about his investment strategy." I shook his hand limply, noticing his gold cufflinks and the calculating look in his eyes that didn't match his smile. "Concerns? You mean about my son stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from me?" Vincent's smile didn't falter. "A unfortunate misunderstanding. Your son saw a time-sensitive opportunity that required immediate capital. The returns will be extraordinary." "Tell me about these returns," I said, gesturing for them to sit. "I'd love to hear exactly where my money is." Adam relaxed visibly, thinking I was softening. "It's a blockchain development company with proprietary technology. Early investors are positioned to make 10 times their initial stake within 18 months. "Fascinating," I said. "And does this blockchain company have a name? Documentation?" Vincent smoothly pulled out a tablet. "I'd be happy to show you some projections." That's when my office door opened, and Sarah walked in with 2 people in suits. "What is this?" Adam demanded, half rising. "Vincent Mercer," said one of the newcomers, flashing a badge. "I'm Agent Roberts, FBI Financial Crimes. We have some questions about Quantum Edge Investments and several other entities you've been operating." The blood drained from Vincent's face. Adam looked between his partner and me in confusion. "Mom, what did you do?" I met his eyes steadily. "I protected myself. Something I should have done a long time ago. Script part separator equals. Vincent stood abruptly, his charm evaporating. "This is completely unnecessary. We're in the middle of a family discussion." Agent Roberts remained unmoved. "Sit down, Mr. Mercer. Unless you'd prefer to continue this conversation downtown." "Adam," Vincent hissed, "did you tell your mother about our other investors?" My son looked panicked. I didn't think." "That's obvious," Vincent snapped before composing himself. "Mrs. Wilson, what your son failed to mention is that we have several prominent investors already committed. Pulling out now would be problematic for everyone." The second agent, a woman with sharp eyes, placed a folder on my desk. "Mrs. Wilson, these are the financial records we've gathered on Quantum Edge Investments. Take a look at page 3. I opened the folder with trembling hands. The document showed a shell corporation structure with familiar names listed as marks, including Thompson Media Group that Sarah had mentioned. Next to each name was a dollar amount and status. Mine read, Wilson Financial, $347,000, acquired. Additional property collateral, pending. "This isn't just about your son, Mrs. Wilson," Agent Roberts explained. "Mr. Mercer and his associates have targeted family businesses across 3 states. They find someone on the inside, usually a family member with access but resentments, and use them to extract funds." Adam's face had gone ashen. Vincent told me it was legitimate. He showed me contracts, projections, all fabricated, Sarah interjected. "The crypto venture doesn't exist." Vincent suddenly made a dash for the door, but the female agent moved faster, blocking his path. "Vincent Mercer, you're under arrest for wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and you can't do this." Vincent shouted as handcuffs clicked around his wrists. "Adam, tell them. You knew exactly what we were doing." The accusation hung in the air as all eyes turned to my son. His expression told me everything I needed to know.
"Did you?"
I whispered. "Did you know it was a scam from the beginning?" Adam couldn't meet my eyes. Not at first. But last week, Vincent explained that we needed to move fast, be aggressive. That's when I realized. The female agent stepped forward. "Adam Wilson, we'll need your statement as well." That's when I realized this was far from over, and my son's troubles were just beginning. Script part separator equals. For one terrible moment, I felt an instinct to protect him. My son. My baby. But as I looked at Adam, really looked at him, I saw not the child I raised but the man he'd become. Someone who would steal from his own mother and lie without remorse. Sarah touched my arm gently. Margaret, you need to decide right now. Are you pressing charges against Adam? Vincent, still struggling against his handcuffs, sneered. She won't. She's too soft. That's why we targeted her in the first place. Something hardened inside me. Yes, I'm pressing charges.
Mom.
Adam's voice cracked. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life. My voice remained steady despite the earthquake happening in my heart. You didn't just take money, Adam. You betrayed every sacrifice I made for you. As the agents escorted both men out, Adam looked back once, his face a mixture of rage and panic. You'll regret this, he called over his shoulder. I know things about your business, Mom. Things you wouldn't want getting out. After they left, I collapsed into my chair, suddenly exhausted.
What did he mean by that?
Sarah asked, concern etching her features. I have no idea, I whispered. My books are clean. I've always been meticulous. Maybe it's just an empty threat. But the chill that ran down my spine told me otherwise. Adam had been in and out of my office for years. Had access to files, computers, meetings. What if he had found something or, worse, planted something? I barely slept that night, jumping at every sound in my empty house. By morning, I knew Adam's threat wasn't empty. My office phone rang at 7:15 a.m. It was Barton Industries, my biggest client, canceling our contract effective immediately.
But why?
I stammered. We received an anonymous email last night containing some concerning information about your accounting practices. Until this is cleared up, we'll be moving our business elsewhere. Script part separator equals. By noon, 3 more clients had called with similar concerns. By closing time, I'd lost over 60% of my business. I sat in my office, staring at a printed copy of the anonymous email that my now former clients had received. It contained doctored screenshots of accounting records suggesting I'd been double billing clients and hiding fees. Fabricated evidence of tax fraud. And most damaging of all, emails that appeared to be from me discussing how to milk these suckers dry. It's all fake, I told Sarah when she rushed over. Someone created all of this. Adam, she said grimly. This is his revenge. But how could he make it look so real? These emails, they look like they came from me. Sarah examined the documents. He grew up around technology. And he had your passwords, remember? He probably had access to your email for years. A cold realization washed over me. He's going to destroy everything I built. Not if we move faster, Sarah said, already on her phone. I'm calling my IT security contact. We need to prove these are forgeries. That night, my landline rang at 11:30 p.m. I answered, expecting another client abandoning ship. Instead, I heard Adam's voice, cold and satisfied. How's business, Mom? Not so great, I hear. You fabricated those documents, I said, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. You're trying to ruin me. You ruined me first, he spat. I'm facing criminal charges because my own mother wouldn't stand by me. Adam, please stop this. You're my son. I'll stop when you drop the charges and tell the FBI it was all a misunderstanding. I can't do that, I whispered. Then watch everything you love burn to the ground. Script part separator equals. The line went dead. I stood there, phone in hand, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach. My own son, the little boy I'd cradled and comforted through nightmares, was now creating my worst nightmare. I didn't sleep at all that night. By morning, I looked like a ghost of myself, but a new resolve had hardened inside me. If Adam wanted war, he'd get one. I'd spent my life building my business from nothing. I wouldn't let him tear it down without a fight. Sarah arrived at my office with reinforcements, a computer forensics expert named Raj, and a private investigator, Michael, who specialized in financial crimes. Let's get one thing straight, Sarah announced, closing my office door. We're not just playing defense anymore. We're going on the offensive. What do you mean?
I asked.
Michael, a former FBI agent with shrewd eyes, laid out several folders. We've been doing some digging into Vincent Mercer. He doesn't work alone. There's a whole network behind him. Raj nodded, opening his laptop. And guess what? Adam wasn't just a pawn. Based on the digital trail, he's been working with these people for at least 8 months. 8 months. The betrayal cut even deeper. While he was coming to Sunday dinners. While I was helping him with his rent. That's not all, Sarah said grimly. Show her, Michael. Michael placed a photograph on my desk. It showed Adam and Vincent at what looked like a fancy restaurant. But it was the third person at the table that made my heart stop.
Is that?
I couldn't finish the sentence. Sarah nodded. Your ex-husband, Adam's father, Robert, is involved in this? I whispered, memories of my bitter divorce flooding back. We don't know the extent yet, Michael said. But they've had multiple meetings. And Robert's company made several large transfers to one of Mercer's shell corporations last year. Script part separator equals. I felt like the floor was tilting beneath me. Robert had abandoned us when Adam was just 8 years old, leaving for his secretary and a new life in California. He'd barely maintained contact with his son through the years, sending occasional checks on birthdays and Christmas. Why would he be involved in this? I asked, my voice hollow. Michael shrugged. Revenge? Greed? Family dynamics are complicated. Maybe he's been poisoning Adam against you for years, Sarah suggested gently, filling his head with resentment. I thought of Adam's words, watching you hoard it all these years. Had that come from Robert? The bitter ex-husband who'd always accused me of being too cautious with money? Whatever the reason, Raj interjected, we can use this connection. He turned his laptop to show me. I've recovered deleted emails between Adam and his father discussing the Wilson job. They weren't as careful as they should have been. A surge of anger replaced my shock. These people, my ex-husband, my own son, had systematically plotted to destroy me. Called it a job like I was just a target, not family. I want everything, I said, surprising myself with the steel in my voice. Every communication, every meeting, every transaction. I want to know exactly who's involved and how deep this goes. That's the spirit, Sarah smiled grimly. While Raj works on the digital evidence, we have another urgent matter. The bank is threatening to call your business loans due to the reputational damage.
They can't do that.
I protested. They can if they believe there's unusual risk. And someone's been making sure they believe exactly that. Script part separator equals. I felt like I was living in some twisted nightmare. My business collapsing around me, my son actively working to destroy me, and now my ex-husband was involved? It was almost too much to bear. What about the money Adam stole? I asked, forcing myself to focus on practical matters. Sarah exchanged glances with Michael. Most of it's gone. They moved it through multiple accounts within hours of the transfers. But Raj interjected, looking up from his computer, I found something interesting. Not all the money went to Mercer's operation. Adam diverted about $90,000 to a separate account. Can we recover it? I asked, a flicker of hope igniting.
Possibly.
It hasn't moved since the initial transfer. Sarah leaned forward. Margaret, we need to move quickly. I suggest a two-pronged approach. First, we contact the FBI with this new evidence linking Robert to the scheme. Second, we file an emergency petition to freeze all of Adam's assets, including this mystery account. I nodded, feeling a strange calm descend over me. Do it. All of it. There's something else, Michael said hesitantly. Based on my investigation, I believe Adam and his father are planning something big, and soon. They've booked a meeting room at the Westlake Hotel for tomorrow. Several potential investors will be there. They're still running the scam, I whispered. Even with Vincent arrested. And they're using the fake evidence against your company as proof they have insider information in the financial industry, Raj added. I stood up, suddenly energized by righteous anger. I want to be at that meeting. Sarah's eyes widened. Margaret, that's too dangerous. No, I said firmly. It's perfect. They won't expect me. And I want to see my son's face when his house of cards collapses. Script part separator equals. Sarah reluctantly agreed to my plan, though she insisted we coordinate with the FBI. By morning, we were ready. I dressed carefully, my most professional suit, subtle makeup covering the exhaustion on my face. I wanted to look like the successful businesswoman I'd always been, not the wounded mother I felt like inside. The Westlake Hotel was intimidatingly elegant with its marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Michael went in first, posing as a potential investor. He texted me the room number and confirmed both Adam and Robert were there, along with 5 other people. Agent Roberts met us in the lobby, accompanied by 2 other agents in plain clothes. Remember, Mrs. Wilson, this is a federal investigation now. Follow our lead, he instructed. I just nodded, my mouth too dry for words. We waited for Michael's signal that the presentation had begun, then made our way to the conference room. I could hear Robert's voice through the door, that smooth, convincing tone I remembered all too well from our marriage. Guaranteed returns of at least 30% within the first 6 months. Our inside sources at major financial institutions provide us with. Agent Roberts nodded to his colleagues. They positioned themselves at the exits while he pushed the door open. The scene froze before me. Robert, silver-haired and distinguished in an expensive suit, stood at the front of the room beside a projection screen. Adam sat at his right, looking important in a way that broke my heart. Around the table, 5 well-dressed people clutched folders emblazoned with Quantum Opportunity Partners. Mom? Adam's voice cracked in shock. What are you doing here? Robert recovered more quickly. Margaret. Always one for dramatic entrances. I stepped fully into the room, flanked by agents and Sarah. Hello, Robert. It's been a while. Script part separator equals. The looks on the potential investors' faces shifted from confusion to alarm as Agent Roberts announced, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm with the FBI Financial Crimes Unit. This meeting is now part of an active fraud investigation. Robert's face hardened. This is ridiculous. Margaret, what have you done? What have I done? My voice was surprisingly steady. I've uncovered your scheme. The same scheme you and our son have been running against me and others. I turned to the investors. These people stole nearly $350,000 from me, from my company. They doctored financial records and created false evidence to destroy my reputation. She's lying, Adam interjected desperately. My mother is mentally unstable. She's been mismanaging her company for years. I pulled out the documents Raj had recovered. Is that why you and your father have been plotting the Wilson job for months? Is that why you diverted $90,000 to your private account? The color drained from Adam's face. One of the investors, a distinguished woman in her 60s, stood up. I've heard enough. Howard, let's go.
Wait.
Robert moved to block the door. Margaret has always been jealous of my success. This is a vindictive attempt to. Agent Roberts stepped forward. Robert Wilson, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, and criminal enterprise. As the agents handcuffed both my ex-husband and my son, I felt no triumph, only a profound sadness. How had we come to this? Sarah squeezed my arm supportively as we watched them being led away. Adam looked back at me one last time, his expression a mixture of hatred and something else, perhaps the first glimmer of shame. It's been 6 months since that day at the Westlake Hotel. 6 months of legal proceedings, rebuilding my business reputation, and trying to heal from the deepest betrayal I've ever experienced. Robert and Vincent are both serving prison sentences. Adam, because he cooperated with authorities and had no prior record, received probation and community service. I haven't spoken to him since the sentencing hearing, though his court-ordered restitution payments arrive punctually each month. Somehow, those sterile bank transfers hurt more than if he'd sent nothing at all. My business is slowly recovering. Sarah helped me launch a transparency campaign, showing clients our new security protocols and systems. Surprisingly, the publicity from the case brought in new clients, people who appreciated how I'd handled the crisis. Yesterday, I received a letter. No return address, but I recognized Adam's handwriting immediately. My hands trembled so badly, I could barely open it. Mom, it began simply. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But you deserve an explanation. Dad has been telling me since I was a teenager that you cheated him in the divorce, that your business should have been partly his. I believed him because it was easier than facing the truth, that he abandoned us, and you were the one who stayed, who sacrificed. I'm starting therapy next week. Maybe someday I can understand why I wanted to hurt the only parent who ever truly loved me. He signed it simply, your son. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in my desk drawer. Is it a first step toward reconciliation or just another manipulation? I honestly don't know. What I do know is this. I survived. I fought back when my own family tried to destroy me. I rebuilt what they tried to tear down. As I lock my office tonight, the city skyline glitters against the darkening sky. I notice a figure waiting near my car, tall, hesitant.
Adam.
My heart races with uncertainty. Whatever happens next, I'm ready. Because I've learned that being family doesn't give anyone the right to break you. And sometimes the strongest love is the kind that says, never again.